Have you ever wondered why people celebrate Christmas in so many different ways? In some homes, families gather around a twinkling evergreen tree, while in others, they light special candles or set up a little scene of a baby in a manger. Some people sing carols, some eat big feasts, and some give lots of presents. It seems like everyone has their own special way to celebrate. So, what is Christmas all about, and why is it on December 25th? Well, for Christians, Christmas is a holiday that remembers the birth of Jesus, who they believe is God's Son. But the story of our modern Christmas is like a giant, cozy patchwork quilt, stitched together from many different traditions from long, long ago. To understand it all, we have to travel back in time, way before the very first Christmas. Are you ready? Let's turn the page and find out. Long before Christmas was ever celebrated, people all over the world paid close attention to the sun. They noticed that as winter arrived, the days got shorter and the nights got longer and colder. This all led up to a very important day called the winter solstice. The winter solstice is the shortest day of the entire year. It was a little scary because it felt like the sun was disappearing, but it was also a time for hope, because after the solstice the days would start getting longer again, promising that spring and warmth would return. To celebrate the return of the light, many ancient cultures lit bonfires and candles. They also decorated their homes with evergreen plants, like holly and fir trees, because these plants stayed green all year and were a symbol of life. In ancient Rome, people had a huge week-long festival called Saturnalia. It was a giant party with lots of food, games, and gift-giving. It was a time for fun and celebrating with friends and family to brighten up the darkest time of year. So, we have all these big winter parties happening, but how did December 25th become day? Well, the Bible, the holy book for Christians, doesn't actually say what day Jesus was born. For the first few hundred years, early Christians celebrated his birth on many different dates. Some celebrated in the spring, others in the fall. There wasn't one single day everyone agreed on. Around the year 300, church leaders in Rome decided to pick one official day. They chose December 25th. Why that day? It was a clever idea. Many people in the Roman Empire already had big celebrations on that day. It was near the winter solstice, and it was also the birthday of a popular sun god named Mithra. By choosing a date that people already recognized as a holiday, it made it easier for everyone to come together and celebrate Jesus' birth as the light of the world, without having to give up their joyful winter festivals. Now that we have the date, let's talk about the story that Christians celebrate on Christmas. This story is called the Nativity. The word nativity just means birth. The story comes from the Gospels, which are the first few books in the New Testament of the Bible. According to the story, a young woman named Mary and her husband Joseph had to travel to their hometown of Bethlehem. When they got there, the town was so crowded that there was no room for them in the inn. So they found shelter in a stable, a place where animals were kept. And that night Mary gave birth to her baby, Jesus. She wrapped him in cloth and laid him in a manger. The story says that a brand new, bright star appeared in the sky. Nearby, an angel appeared to some shepherds who were watching their sheep and told them the good news. They hurried to Bethlehem to see the newborn baby. Far away, wise men, also called Magi, saw the same star and followed it all the way to Bethlehem, bringing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh for the new king. This story of hope and a humble birth is at the very heart of the Christmas celebration for Christians. As time marched on into the Middle Ages, Christmas traditions grew and spread across Europe. People continued to bring evergreen branches into their homes as a sign of everlasting life in the middle of winter. They lit Yule logs in their fireplaces for warmth and light. Big feasts were still a huge part of the celebration, bringing communities together. Churches held special services, and sometimes people would put on mystery plays, which were like little skits that acted out stories from the Bible, including the Nativity. This is also when caroling became popular. A carol is a joyful song, and originally, people would sing and dance to them not just at Christmas, but at all kinds of festivals. Over time, they became especially linked with the Christmas season, with singers going from door to door to spread cheer. These medieval celebrations were lively and full of community spirit, mixing the religious meaning of the holiday with the fun and festive traditions that had been around for centuries. Morphs into a red Sinterklaas hat. But what about Santa Claus? Where did he come from? His story starts back in the 300s, around the same time the date for Christmas was being chosen. There was a kind bishop named Nicholas who lived in a place called Myra, which is in modern-day Turkey. Nicholas was very wealthy, and he was famous for secretly giving gifts to people in need. One famous story tells of how he dropped bags of gold down the chimney of a poor man's house, which landed in the stockings that were hanging by the fire to dry. After he died, he became known as Saint Nicholas. His legend spread across Europe. In the Netherlands, he was called Sinterklaas, and he would arrive on a ship each year to leave gifts for good children. When Dutch settlers came to America, they brought the story of Sinterklaas with them. Over time, his name changed to Santa Claus, and American writers and artists gave him his famous sleigh, reindeer, and a home at the North Pole. So the jolly man in the red suit we know today is a mix of a real kind-hearted saint and hundreds of years of wonderful stories. You might think that Christmas has always been a popular holiday, but it actually went through some ups and downs. In the 1600s, a group of very strict Christians called the Puritans came to power in England. The Puritans thought that Christmas celebrations had become too much like the old pagan parties, like Saturnalia. They felt the feasting, drinking, and games were not respectful to the religious meaning of the day. So, they actually banned the celebration of Christmas. For about 20 years in England, and for even longer in some Puritan colonies in America, it was illegal to miss work or to feast on Christmas Day. But you can't stop the spirit of a holiday that easily. Many people continue to celebrate quietly in their own homes, keeping the traditions of a special meal and family time alive, even when the big public parties were forbidden. It shows just how important these traditions were to people. After falling out of fashion, Christmas made a huge comeback in the 1800s during what's called the Victorian era, named after Queen Victoria of England. The Christmas tree, which had been a tradition in Germany for a long time, became super popular after a London newspaper published a drawing of Queen Victoria and her German husband, Albert, with their children around a decorated fir tree. Suddenly, everyone in England and America wanted one. This was also when the first Christmas cards were sent, and old carols were rediscovered and became popular again. A famous writer named Charles Dickens wrote a book called A Christmas Carol, which you might have heard of. His story about generosity, kindness, and spending time with family had a huge impact. It helped shape the idea of Christmas as a time for goodwill and charity towards others. The Victorians really created the blueprint for the cozy, family-focused Christmas that many people celebrate today. In the 20th century, Christmas became bigger and brighter than ever, thanks to modern media and new ways of shopping. Department stores started creating magical winter wonderlands and having their own Santas for children to visit. The image of Santa Claus became standardized, thanks in large part to popular advertisements in the 1930s that showed him as the jolly, red-suited man with a white beard we all recognize. Movies, TV specials, and radio songs spread Christmas stories and music all over the world. Characters like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer were born from these modern stories. This is also when some people started to talk about the commercialization of Christmas. Commercialization is when a holiday becomes very focused on buying and selling things, like toys and decorations. While gift-giving has always been a part of winter festivals, the 20th century turned it into a huge industry, creating the busy shopping season we know today. While many Christmas traditions come from Europe and America, people all over the world celebrate in their own unique and beautiful ways. In Mexico, many communities have a celebration called Las Posadas, where for 9 nights, people reenact Mary and Joseph's search for an inn. In the Philippines, the Christmas season is the longest in the world, and people hang beautiful star-shaped lanterns called paroles. In Germany, families and friends gather at magical outdoor Christmas markets to shop and enjoy festive treats. Since it's summer in Australia during December, many families celebrate with a barbecue on the beach. And in countries like Ethiopia and Greece, many Orthodox Christians celebrate Christmas on January 7th because they use a different, older calendar. It's amazing to see how one holiday can be celebrated in so many different climates and cultures, each with its own special flavor. So, when you see all the symbols of Christmas, you're actually seeing pieces of history. The Christmas tree, an evergreen, is a symbol of hope and everlasting life, borrowed from ancient winter solstice festivals. The lights we put on it represent the return of the sun, and for Christians, Jesus is the light of the world. The star on top of the tree reminds people of the Star of Bethlehem that the wise men followed. A wreath, which is a circle with no beginning or end, can symbolize eternity and is a sign of welcome on a front door. Even the candy cane has a story. Some people say it was shaped like a shepherd's crook to remind children of the shepherds who visited baby Jesus. And of course, the tradition of giving gifts reminds us of the gifts from the wise men, the generosity of Saint Nicholas, and the festive gift-giving of the Roman Saturnalia. Every decoration tells a part of this long and wonderful story. So, today's Christmas is a beautiful blend of history, faith, culture, and family. For some, it's a deeply religious holiday. For others, it's a season of goodwill and a time to connect with loved ones. And for many, it's a mix of both. That's why you might hear people say, Happy Holidays as well as Merry Christmas. It's an inclusive way to wish everyone well during this festive time of year, no matter what they celebrate. The most important part of the season, which has been true since the very first winter festivals, is spreading light, kindness, and joy. Whether it's baking cookies, singing songs, helping others, or just spending time together, the traditions we keep are what make the holiday special. So, as you celebrate this year, think about all the history that goes into it. And maybe you can even start a new tradition of your very own. What tradition will you start?